So as we've mentioned there about the program counter, just to say, program counter will contain the memory address of the next instruction to be carried out or executed. So don't forget that. That was a question on one of the papers there last year, the year before. So other registers include data registers and address registers. And you've got to be a bit clever about this. Address registers, they will contain the addresses of the memory locations of instructions or to be carried out, and data registers, they will contain data. So let's see there. Data registers hold numeric data. This data is operated on by the CPU, and it has at some point come from main memory across the bus, and results will typically return to the main memory once operated on if required. So as we say there, that's what data registers do. They hold this numeric data. Invariably, they're in main memory there. And when we talk about main memory, we're on about something like RAM or ROM. That is main memory. Secondary memory is things like hard drives and that. So address registers hold main memory addresses. So these are the places that hold the addresses of where the data is or instructions are. These address values say where data is to be operated on in the main memory, or where data is to be sent to main memory over the bus. That is the result of an operation. So there are many more specialized types of registers on modern CPUs also, and we'll see more about that shortly. So here again is this overview of your registers. And often that what can happen here, your control unit, remember this fella, he's the director of operations, and he decides what's going on in that. And you've got your arithmetic logic unit that carries out all the mathematical operations and that. Because sometimes it can be hard to understand what's going on in the computer, but we might see a couple of examples. Tom Scott is a really good one, which we'll be looking at. But we'll be seeing some of this in more detail. So, going on to memory here. Memory is a stored program computer is one that stores programs internally in memory. Now, as opposed to early designs where programs were stored externally on punched cards or magnetic tapes. Again, you could be asked in your leaving cert, what does the idea of a stored program concept, what does that mean? And there, all you're saying is this idea is a computer that stores programs internally. And that's as opposed to in the old days when they used to store the programs externally. So this is memory we typically refer to as random access memory, or RAM for short. Note that this is not where files are stored for long-term use, like your photos on your computer. They are stored in what is called secondary storage. That's where photos and that are stored. But random access memory is main memory. So the data in RAM is typically data that is or has recently been or soon will be operated on. It is stored temporarily in RAM. Really important to remember. RAM is volatile. RAM is volatile. When you're working on it, if your computer switches off, the power goes off, you lose it. It is not permanent. It is volatile. It can be lost if the power is turned off. If you're editing a document, it might be loaded into RAM while you're working on it. RAM is known as volatile memory. When the RAM loses power, the data is lost. This is why if your computer crashes, then the last changes you made might disappear if you haven't saved them. These changes were stored in the volatile RAM and not yet been copied to the non-volatile secondary storage such as your hard drive. So when you want to permanently save something, you need to save it to your hard drive. Whereas let's say you opened up a Microsoft Word document and you didn't save it and you were just working on it. And next thing, computer crashes, you lose it. We might test that in a moment. And actually, let's test that right now. Okay?